Hello and welcome to the Paul O'Connor podcast, where we'll be talking about the motor trade, entrepreneurship, business and beyond.
You're a little bit hyper. Okay. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Paul.
How are you, Paul?
I'm good, Paul.
That's good, Paul.
So, what have you brought me up here today for, Paul?
There is a quite nice little room that I wanted to bring you in.
All right.
Show you some things.
This is recording, right? You can't make our office jokes instead of the start of a podcast. We don't touch each other much. No, it's just a joke, yeah. No, I think we're doing a little bit of a podcast episode. Recently, I celebrated, if you could call it that, 6 years in business. I did a TikTok on the some of the lessons I've learned. So I thought we'd expand on that a little bit. Make a little podcast episode out of it. You have a few questions.
A few questions.
Now, might I stress as well now, this is the laziness of some staff members here. Paul here, right? God forbid he'd come up with some questions himself. ChatGPT came up with most of those questions.
Hey, I wrote like
right?
2 of these.
ChatGPT came up with most of them, right? That's fine. Some of them are a bit ChatGPT-ish. So if I get asked questions that are very robotic, you know who to blame.
Do you know what? I was actually even too lazy to turn off the double-sided printing.
Oh my God.
So
this is what we're dealing with here now.
Do you know what? ChatGPT actually, you pay me, and I just get ChatGPT to do my job.
Right?
Yeah.
At least ChatGPT do make less mistakes anyway.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, Paul. No, but on a serious note, yeah, we were just going to talk, I suppose, a little bit about business, my experience, my journey to date. People that have been following my, social media stuff, TikTok stuff, Instagram, might have seen the journey, they might have seen me talk about some of these things. So, we'll go through a few bits and pieces. We'll see how it goes, and hopefully people will find it interesting and get a bit of value from it.
I suppose to start off, congratulations on 6 years.
Thanks. I've made
Big achievement.
Yeah, it's not
Haven't closed down yet.
No. Stay open for another month or two anyway.
I suppose, what actually motivated you to start the business at the start?
I always wanted to work for myself. I was telling my parents that I was going to be working for myself by the time I'm 30. I'd say when I was about 21, I was like, by the time I'm 30, I'll be working for myself. And I actually started working for myself when I was 30. But I just always wanted to be in control of my own, I suppose, life and in my own destiny. I was working for the bowling group for about 6 years, and that was fantastic. I got great experience. I got got up to management level. And I kind of got to 29 or so, and then I was looking around, and there was a lot of other lads working within the group for 20 years, and they were in their 40s and everything like that. And I already had, a similar-ish job to them at 29 or 30. And I kind of felt like, look, I have a great job here, and don't get me wrong, it was a very good job, and the money was good, and I did enjoy it. But I just felt like, sure, I can't stop here. Do you know what I mean? I said, this is the corporate ladder, and I felt I had more in me, and I had a massive kind of creative side to myself, and I always wanted to kind of do things my kind of way and everything like that. And no matter who you're working for, when you work for someone else, you're working for someone else, and that's just the way it is. You have to a little bit abide by what they want, or a lot of the time, but that's just the way business works. So I kind of wanted to do it. I saw other people, not main dealer people, but just other people that were like traders in the motor trade doing bits, and I'm looking at them, I'm like, I think I can do a better job than you. That's not being arrogant, but I did think that,
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? I've been saving money a good few years now. I've had a good run of it. I said, I'm going to give this a go. And sure, what's the worst that can happen? I can always, if it fails, sure, you'll earn back the money, and I can get a job working for someone else. And I think that's kind of the right way to look at it.
So 21 is kind of when you decided you wanted a business.
Age 21, yeah.
How did you, I suppose, you didn't plan on getting into car sales, into the motor trade?
No, not really.
How did that kind of come about?
I finished college in the middle of the recession, got a job bridge, like this is basically your dole plus like 50 quid a week, with Office Master in Waterford. They used to call it Field Master then. And I was with them for a while. I started off doing marketing, and then they got me into sales, and then I enjoyed that, but I was like, you know what? I enjoyed working there, but I just wanted something more interesting than like printers and pens and paper and everything like that.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm into cars. I was always into cars. I'd always had my done up cars, and I always had my modified cars, and I always had this and that. And I just saw an ad for the Auto Bowling Group or something like that, and I just applied for it, and ended up getting a job. And I ended up getting a job. Got offered a job in H&H Motors, and then that's how I kind of got into it.
Lovely. Do you remember, I suppose, first car you ever sold, and then the first car you sold through the garage, through here?
First car. Well, I sold I was buying and selling my own yokes over the years. First car I sold to the garage. I was only thinking of that, like, because I'm getting confused between two of them, because there was one of them which was the first deposit I took, and the other one which was the first car was delivered. First car I sold myself was probably my first car. That was probably the Renault Clio I sold. I didn't do a huge pile of like buying and selling while I was working for someone else. I think it would have been against my employment terms at the time. I bought and sold a couple of yokes. I had a Kangoo van at one stage, and I had a Mini Cooper S I bought for myself for a while as a kind of while I was working for Bold. But they're just cars for myself, things I was using, and I just sold them and on again. First car here, I think I was in 2010 or 11 BMW 3 Series diesel. I got from Kiri's. BMW, I think, and I think that was the first car I sold, and I think I'm getting caught between that and I think it was an 07 Mini that I had.
Good joke.
Oh my god, an 07 Mini. I think I bought it for like, I don't know, 1,200 quid from trade sales in Waterford. I sold it for like 2-3 to a girl I kind of knew anyway, and I think it was like 2-3 or 2.5. And it was grand. I was like, sure, I made 700 quid in it or whatever it was, and then the timing chain went in it like 6 weeks later, or something like that, which cost over 1,000 quid. So I lost money. You very quickly into your car sales journey realise you can't. There's no money in buying cars for 1,000 and putting a warranty on them and selling them for 2-3. You will be a very broke man or a very busy fool.
I've just realised how bad my questions are. This is how lazy I am. I didn't even read these properly.
You didn't even read the questions. So you're not even. This is. God,
I'm just going to ask you questions.
You're going to ask me questions.
These are terrible. I can't believe I gave these to you. You gave them back to me.
I crossed out a couple of them now. In fairness, I was like, what do you think the latest trends with EVs are?
Yeah, like, just what's a bad
that
one
is
here?
that.
Like
listen,
EV
for everyone
trends
tuning into this podcast episode and expecting some red hot, very good content, I do apologise. It's very tough to get good staff, and hopefully we'll get some better questions.
I suppose, look, talk me through your first year in business. What were kind of the hard lessons you learned? I suppose, yeah, what were the harder lessons you learned? What was the outcome of the first year? I
worked fucking hard the first year. I still work hard, but not to the level I did the first year. It was just all consuming the first year, especially. You start off then, what it is when you start off a car sales business, right? No one wants to deal with you, right? And what I mean by that is, like, you're a new business. Everyone's kind of, relax yourself now, lad. Banks don't want to deal with you really. When you're trying to arrange car finance, it was just lucky, for example, that I had my finance exams done, and I had a relationship from working with Poland's with a few of the reps. And shout out to Kerry from Alfira. I think she was the first person to give me a letter of recognition for doing the finance, because I had a relationship with her from working with Hertz. But for the first year, it is a constant scramble between, it's money, everything's money, right? And I'm still in the same showroom I had when I started, and like, obviously it's great now where we filled the showroom, we've filled outside, we fill the yard, but it's completely different times. Like, if this place, I didn't have the money to fill the place, and what used to happen sometimes, I was always quite busy from the start. What happened then, like, you'd have money for, let's say, 15 cars, right, give or take, right? But then you'd sell a few of them, or else you'd buy in a few, and there's going to be 3 of them over in Vallet, and there's 2 getting serviced. There's one of them out on loan maybe or something like that, to a warranty one from one you sold previously. So someone comes in there now, I seen you on Facebook or Instagram, and I said I'd come down for a look, and I'd be just looking outside, and there's like 8 cars there.
It's a pretty big unit.
It's a pretty big unit, and I'm sorry. I used to be nearly embarrassed. Like, it's like, I'm so sorry if you came down to look at stuff here. I actually don't have the money. In my head I'd be thinking, I don't have the money to fill the place, because there'd be cars in prep, and I used to buy some cars from the UK as well. And but you'd be waiting on cars to arrive, so you'd pay for cars. That's what I used to do a lot at the start. And
you had a bit of a grind with the.
Oh yeah, I used to be sending people. I'd pay someone to go over for me, like to collect the car, or else I'd send my parents over for a weekend. I'd buy a car on Thursday from BCA in the UK. I'd pay for it Friday morning, send my parents over to collect it Saturday morning, and they'd come home on the ferry either Saturday evening or maybe Sunday if they made a weekend of it. And I used to do that because I had to. It would just irk me knowing, and you know me now. I get irked if things aren't as I want. Like,
quick enough.
I hate lack of efficiency. After if everything's not, it would just annoy me to no end. When people say if I was waiting an extra week for the transport company, for cars to come over from the UK, I would spend a whole week annoyed no end that those cars that I'd already paid for weren't here, that I could show to people, or people come in that they could see the cars I had in stock. I was like, well, I have a couple more landed in here. There's a picture of it, you know. I was like, I'd feel embarrassed because I wanted this place to be such a good garage, but I just didn't have the money for it. So that's why I wanted efficiency. I was like, right, I'm buying the car. If I'm paying for a car today on Friday, I want it here Saturday.
Yeah, you want it.
What do I need to do? Do I need to? I don't care. Send a freaking flying saucer over to get it. I don't care. It has to be here. Or else you buy cars in the motor trade, right? And obviously, when you're trying to start buying cars off, especially the bigger dealer groups and everything like that, you know, they have unlimited money behind them. So you don't ever want to let on that you don't have any money really, like, you know. So you're like, oh, that car's in for you. I have 3 cars that you bid on that are in for you this week, and you're like, okay, grand. I'll when will you be down for them? I'm like, oh, geez, I have no money for them, so I can't pay you for them. That's what it is like.
Yeah.
So you just didn't have money, so you're constantly in the back of your head, or you finance the car, and you're like, why hasn't it hit my bank account today? And you're ringing up the bank, when am I getting paid out in that deal? Because you're trying to arrange someone to go down to Keary's in Cork, or wherever it is, to collect another car. And you're just constantly, so for the first 2 years nearly, definitely the first year, that was the biggest issue. Luckily the sales came straightforward to me. What I struggled with in the first year was having enough money and enough stock to satisfy demand. And that was a massive issue. And obviously when you're starting off in business, I got a bit of a loan off AAB at the start, to just help buy stock and all that kind of thing. But like I needed another like 200 grand to have enough stock to meet demand at the time. And because you're new in business, you have no financial statements or you know, your accounts, like financial accounts or anything like that. Like no bank are going to touch you. It's like, all right, you send on the last 2 years accounts. And I was like, don't have it.
Yeah.
So you're doing that. There was that. I was outsourcing a lot of the mechanical work, which was fine. It was actually grand. It was actually fine from a quality perspective. What it was actually JJ around the corner from us here, and he actually did a very good job for that time period. But it's just we were actually buying too many cars at that stage. For him to keep up, and he did his own customers and everything. So it actually grew pretty quick within the first year. Now COVID was in the middle of it as well, like, but I'd say by the time I was a year and 3 months in business, I had 7 staff.
It just blew up.
Came back after COVID, right? I started now in May. We opened May 2019. COVID happened, say March 2020, and I think I had 3 staff at the time. Myself, Marty, and Jessica was a girl who was in the office at the time. And Tom had just started blowing the workshop. I just opened the workshop in February, so I had 4, including myself. And then it came back then, and after COVID it came back, and there was pent up demand, even from just being closed for 2 months. And it just took off, and all of a sudden then we got in a qualified mechanic, then I got in an apprentice, I got in a valeter, I got in a second salesman, Dave Tobin, who's out on his own now in August 2020, I think he started. So that was only a year and 3 months in business, and I think I'd 7, possibly 8 staff at that stage. So I went up to a pretty, and at this point now, we would also been doing like 35, 40 a month. Like, so it was within a year and 3 months, it was already at 400, 450 retail cars a year.
How long did it take? Like, what was the point that you were saying, I need to take on staff now? I'm always open to the idea of taking on staff. A lot of people have the wrong idea with staff, right? One, I get OCD about certain things, but about other things as well, and you'll know from working here. Like, I will happily not micromanage certain things, and I'll let you or whoever, I'll let you to it. Like, obviously there are certain things I'd like done to my standard or to my efficiency or to whatever. But I was always open to the idea of getting some other people in to do jobs I either didn't have time to do or that mightn't be what I'd like or be good at doing. Yeah.
So I was here probably 2 months, and I'd a load of what you need when you have a garage as well. Even if you just have someone else here, right? So you can few things. You can go out for a bite to eat at lunchtime without closing up the place. So you can someone can answer the phone inside in the office if you're talking to another customer outside. If you're collecting a car in the morning, for someone to come in here and talk to them. So if you have any business and you're closing up because you're gone off for an hour, you're losing business like that.
Yeah.
So Grace, the girl that was working for me for probably about 6 months, she started about 2 months in, and that was a great help. She helped with a lot of the admin stuff. She did a bit of the marketing. She helped do some of the invoicing, some of the account stuff and all that. And then it got to a point then, just before Marty started in November 19, I was just too busy. There was too many inquiries. I was trying to do all the buying, all fucking marketing.
You were actually losing out on
I was
sales.
losing out. What happened then, I'd be like, I have 2 people collecting car tomorrow. I'm inside in the office, sending through a prop for a finance application, or trying to deal with another inquiry I had on the go. And then a customer walks into the showroom and Grace is like, oh yeah, there's a fella out there looking to do this. I was like, I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
And when you get to that point, you're like, and that's happened several times a day, because and then I go talking to them. Then I was like too stressed. I was like, I have too much on. So I was like, right, I better get a junior sales executive. So I advertised for it, and Marty appeared. He's still here. But then I just see with staff, I kind of.
You're good at keeping staff.
Yeah, no, we're good at keeping staff. Yeah, no. I think I'm fair with people, and I think it's a good place to work, and staff generally stay here, and no one's ever really left working here to work at a rival business. What I mean, nearly everyone that's left either I got rid of them, or we ended on mutually, or else they started their own business, or they emigrated, went abroad. People generally don't leave to go to the garage down the road. Yeah. I don't think that's ever happened. I'm just trying to think now. Has it? I can't think of one off the top of my head. But yeah, I always look at staff as I think of what they can offer the business, and a lot of people just look at staff and just see as an expense. Oh, I pay them 2 or 3 grand a month or whatever it is. It's like, oh, sure, I can't afford that. Like, it's like, okay, right, but if you had that person doing that job, will that free up your time, even if you want to look at it that way, to make the business an extra 2 or 3 grand a month? And luckily, we're in a business where there's good money in the units you're selling, and 2 or 3 grand might only be 1 or 2 cars, like, do you know what I mean? So usually when I posed that question to myself, usually the answer for the most part was, yeah, I think it would. Yeah, sure.
When you first, a lot of my questions will probably be, around buying cars, stocking the place, stuff like that, just because that's what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
I suppose when you started, it was mainly from the trade you were buying. Were you buying privately at all?
A little bit, yeah, but I wasn't active. I wouldn't ring people off Dundee. I only really started maybe 2 years ago, I'd say. We only really started doing it when you started, to be honest, because it's quite time consuming. Where I got most of my cars at the start was I was buying a bit from, there were a bit ex-lease cars from a company up in Dublin. I can't think of the name at the moment. I was buying a couple of them. I was buying a little bit off Trade Sales and Car Stock, which is Boland's Trade Auctions. I was buying a good bit of Keary's in Cork, a variety of garages.
Yeah.
And then I was buying a fair bit from the UK as well, from BCA. It was very easy to buy cheaper yokes from the UK. You could buy in like 14 Astras back in 2019. They were costing you like, I don't know, £4,000. And you'd pay your taxes on them and everything like that, and you'd have them in standing you 7, and you throw them up for 9,950 or whatever. But they were an easy sell, and there was pre-Brexit, so there was the tax side of it was very easy.
So obviously you were selling cheaper cars.
Yeah.
What were the margins like, and when did you kind of like? Do you ever think you were selling cars too cheap, or were the margins too less?
I think I was a busy fool for ages, but I think a lot of people do at the start.
I think you have to for a little while. Do you?
You do a little bit at the start, yeah. You have to get the name out there as well at the moment, and like you're a bit nervous when you're starting a business, and what you really want is to get, when you put a load of money into a business, you want money to start coming back in again, and for you to get kind of in, it kind of gives you a bit of release. Okay, people want to do business with me. Okay, people want to buy cars off me. Okay, you have to have proof of concept in what you're doing, and also when you're starting off, like, we've sold thousands of cars here now over the years, so we've got a good track record. You can ask nearly anyone in the country in the motor trade would have heard of us, and so many customers would have heard of us. So we've got a bit of clout. We don't have to be. We know we're good. We don't have to be the most cheapest in the country. We have a track record of doing good things in the motor trade and selling good cars. You don't have any of that in the start, so you have to prove yourself nearly and you can't be. If I just opened up here and all of a sudden I was selling 40 grand cars, which would have made no sense because I would have had money for 2 of them maybe. People, I really struggled to sell. Like, I was selling a fella, I think he was a 2017 5 Series back in 2019, and he said, look, leave it in with you. Can I leave it in with you a month or two and see if someone wants to buy it, basically. Get no inquiries on it, because the rest of my cars were
just wasn't the market.
Were 6,950 and all that kind of thing. They were much cheaper.
Similar to what we see with kind of 45,000.
So like on the cheaper stuff, like with the prep on them and the condition of them, like you're not going to make that much money out of them, and you're going to be a bit of a busy fool, but like you have to start selling a few cars to begin with, and especially when you had a garage this size, which was fairly big, I had to have it at least some bit full.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or else it wouldn't it wouldn't look good. But like when I look back on the money I was making per car back then versus what we make now, again, there's a certain element of I have to make it now because my overheads are high. But like I'm a lot more selective what I buy now as well.
Yeah.
And I fine tuned the process a bit more than I did back then. But yeah, look at some of the money. Like it was like in triple digits. A lot of the profit I made in cars. Like somebody could be like, I don't know, made €720 on that car.
Yeah.
I know people looking at that saying, "Geez, that sounds like that." That's absolutely nothing in car sales.
Yeah.
One warranty problem, you're goosed. You've lost money on it, basically.
It's gone.
You know, and that's just the way it is. But it was the price point of stuff I was selling, and my expectation was a lot lower. And I just wanted to start selling cars and seeing Paul O'Connor cars, number plate surrounds going around the place, and I wanted to see people. I wanted to just be seen to be selling cars and being busy, and I don't regret any of it. I had to do it.
Yeah.
You know, when you start fine tuning and turning it into an actual proper business once you're established a bit, and once I had got to a point, and don't get me wrong, selling even those with those smaller margins, it still built up my pot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then when you start building up a bit more and you have a bit more confidence, then you can start, I suppose, actually making it a proper business then.
Had you at any stage hit a wall where you're kind of like, no, should I be doing this? Or was there, you know, a massive warranty issue at an early stage? Was there any time that you said, I need to stop this, or I shouldn't be doing this?
As in, like, the car sales in general?
Yeah.
No point where I was like, right, I don't know how long or I don't know, is this sustainable? No, but I did go on like a few bad warranty runs back, even 2021. I was so lucky. I think for the first 18 months, like, I didn't have much warranty, and it was honestly my biggest warranty problem. I'm not sure the exact timeline, but I'd say within the first 18 months might have been less than 1,500 quid, 1,200 quid.
Yeah.
Maybe I can get 4 injectors going in one car. Like, we have several €1,000 plus warranty problems cars per month now. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it would often, we you know, we'd wonder, we would, a good few year now, we'd have over $5,000. There could be engines, there could be massive issues like that. Like, if I had a couple of them in my first year in business, that would have really knocked me back. Like,
yeah.
But I've had times, especially like maybe 2 years into business, let's say, that I was like, right, how old am I now? Or I'm 32 or 33. All right, I'll do this till I'm 40 and I'm gone. I had that regularly up until about 2 years ago.
Do you do you still feel like that?
Nah, not really.
No,
I like it now.
You're gonna keep going?
What else did I do?
No, just close it tomorrow.
No, like, I straight be saying to you the whole time, like, what do I want? I was like, I just want to.
A Ferrari and a yacht.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I say I want those things. I do actually.
Yeah.
No, but like, I just like to. I just want life on my own terms, and this is getting a bit more philosophical and off point here, but I want life on my own terms, and if life on my own terms when I'm 50 is selling used cars in Dungarvan, cool, I'll continue to do it.
Yeah.
But if life on my terms means I can holiday in the Bahamas for a month or two a year, and having someone else if that's what it is, then it is, like. But you can't get to that point. I don't want to be absolutely shackled to the business till I'm 70 because I can't retire because I made a lot of poor financial decisions over the years. Like, so I suppose I want to get past the point where, and I'm not at that point yet, like, obviously, but I want to get past the point where I have to worry too much about how I'm going to live, or, you know, I have to stick with it or I can't afford to. I know I've fucking 10 kids and 6 mortgages and all that. That's silly, like, you know what I mean? Some lads do get themselves, sometimes through no fault of their own, sometimes through fault of their own, but it would be silly if when business is doing well to be a fucking idiot about it as well.
Yeah.
But to answer your question, I've had a few times that, but there's never been, I fucking touch wood now. It's been great, and I know I'm fortunate that I've been in business at a time there hasn't really been a recession. It's been good, like, and a lot of lads think
you had COVID.
We did. COVID was tough just for the bit it was closed, but after that, ask anyone in cars, it's pretty fucking good, like.
Yeah.
You know, especially for used cars, like, it was, to be fair. So that was one thing, but there hasn't been, and I'm sure there will be. I'm not naive. There hasn't really been downturns or recessions or any of that kind of thing since I've been here, or since I've been in business. So I kind of started in car sales at kind of in the last recession, the big one, the 2009 recession. But I kind of started kind of a little bit on the tail end of it, 2012, 2013, and it was starting to come out of it then. And then even 2014 was a bit quiet, but then 2015 onwards, 2015 to 2019 when I was working for Boland, it was good. Like, it was a lot of cars being sold, and I was in H&H, the Renault garage, and a lot of it, and Dacias were being sold, and they were doing well. So I've had a good run of definitely the last 10 years at it, like, and so yeah, just keep driving on, I suppose.
When did you, I suppose from when you first started, it took off very quickly. Do you think it was social media? Like, what was the big?
I definitely think there was a few things that went to my favor, I guess. I was I know I've been doing TikToks for years, but I was doing, I'll reshare them sometimes. I was doing funny videos on Instagram and Facebook 6 years ago. Like, no one was doing them at the time. And I used to do a lot of funny, I was one of the first garages that I knew that had kind of funny Instagram stories.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't do it as much anymore, and I probably should, to be fair. But like, I used to be showing off like my dog, obviously, and I'd be making jokes with him. I'd have colourful socks that were there every day, and people would be saying, "Oh, what socks do you want today?" And that was kind of a thing I had for a while. But the kind of funny Instagram stories and just the having a laugh inside and kind of working on that, and I used to be taking videos of Marty, we'd be ripping the piss out of each other and all that, like, and people like that. So there was that. A lot of garages I've seen to bring in the personal side to your branding and marketing. A lot of garages are at it now.
Yeah.
That wasn't the thing 5 or 6 years ago. Everyone was still taking themselves way too seriously. Hi there, it's John here from ABC Motors.
Did you ever get any bit of a slagging for that?
The whole time, yeah.
Yeah.
People
Just
don't
didn't
anymore.
care.
I didn't care. I just happy to get attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't care.
Might buy a car.
Yeah, like no, I think like, you would a little bit. I've gone past that point now because like I look at what's in front of me and I can see literally proof in black and white that what I do from a market point of view works.
Yeah.
So okay, well while that's happening, that's enough proof for me. I don't need you giving me your nonsense opinion on it. Like, and I don't care. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure people talk about me, shit about me behind my back the whole time. That's par for the course. That happens. Like, don't care. Talk
Doesn't
about
matter.
me. I don't mind. Sure, I'm happy. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. So like to go back to what you said, the marketing was a big thing, but also I just think I kind of tried to make the main dealer professionalism, for want of a better word, and I learned a lot from working in main dealers. A lot of lads started off on their own, they're haphazard with everything, and they're shit with paperwork and they're this and that, trying to do a bit of main dealer professionalism and branding and all that kind of thing, but with really sound after sales and really looking after people. And I did bend over backwards, especially for people in the first year or two, because I was trying to build a name if possible. I still think we're very obliging to people, but I really did then, because I wanted everyone to think, you're starting in garage in Dungarvan. I'm not from Dungarvan. Now, I know I'm from Ballymac, but I would have went to school in Clonmel, so people my age wouldn't really know me much now in Dungarvan. So I was starting off here. My father's from Dungarvan, which people, if they kind of knew, they might know my uncle or they'd know my cousins or something like that. But you're an unknown entity. And you started off, and I was very well aware of that. I was like, who's that Paul O'Connor fella? You have to be super careful with your reputation. If you start off on the wrong foot,
one bad car.
Yeah, if you start off on the wrong foot, you know, people will say, oh no, I wouldn't trust him now. Like, I heard about this, I heard about that. Especially as I started getting a bit busier and a bit bigger. People now have like a target on my head now. People are only looking for something to chip me down with or to slag
They
me.
actually do.
I know.
I see it quite often. Like, people just look for a reason to give out.
I don't care, but that's why I have to be very careful what we do, because people would love to see me fail now at this stage.
Yeah,
great. I don't care. Just give me a challenge.
But
that's a representation on them though.
Yeah.
If you're in business or you're in life in general and you're looking at someone else and you're trying to chip them down or trying to find fault in what they do rather than looking at yourself, that is literally loser carry on. That's literally page 1 on how to be a loser in life. No, it is though. It's fair, isn't it?
Yeah. No,
just
it's very Irish.
Oh, so Irish, but it's so fucking Irish. It's so pathetic. Like, just focus on what you're doing. Do you know, like, it's like me, like, I don't know, like Kieran Sanford, who else, like Anthony Duggan, I had lads in the garden. That's like me just going out of my way to wish ill on them or hope they. I hope they're fucking busy. I hope every garage in the garden is busy. Sure, and then we're all making a few quid and we'll get customers from Waterford and Cork and everything like that.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I? Jesus Christ! Like, is the lads that will try and chip other people down, or the lads that are. And again, I haven't got much now. I'm just mentioning those yet, but like I don't get much begrudgery from local garages around here. I think we all have a pretty good working relationship, but like, you know, don't be focusing on what the other person's doing.
Yeah.
Just do your own thing. Like, we can all do fine. Do you know what I mean? That's fine. it's funny though. But yeah, I think that the main things that kind of got me off the ground was social media stuff, being sound where possible, and they were the two main ones. I think just being fair at warranty and being reputable to deal with. That's everything in car sales. People really don't trust car sales. You have to be sound, and that with a bit of funny marketing and decent stock. Like, I was buying stuff from the trade, but I was always getting in like nice Audis now and nice 5 Series and
From BCA.
Yeah, and some in Ireland too. Like,
Yeah.
but I'd always have 1 or 2 really nice yokes in stock that'd get attention. Like, you know what I mean?
Always an A7.
I had a couple of A7s, yeah. But they would just be a flagship car. Oh, geez, you some nice cars.
Just to
come in
grab the
then
attention again.
A few Yaris's and Clios and all that. Maybe 1 A7, but and again, I was fortunate enough at the time that when I was bringing in those A6s and A7s and nice 5 Series, there was nowhere else in Dungarvan doing it at the time. Now, again, a few of the other lads are starting to, lot of lads are moving away from the older, higher mileage stuff now because for their own sanity. I don't blame them. But no one was really doing it at the time.
Yeah.
In Dungarvan. So I was one of the only place around that had the 25, 30 grand nicer UK imported Audis and Beamers, we'd say, for example. There were plenty of other lads in other towns doing it, but that was, I suppose, there was a gap in the market in Dungarvan.
If you were to start again, because I suppose, like, as opposed to if everyone thinks of a garage and you think like the Motor Mile in Waterford or somewhere like that, would you start again in Dungarvan?
Yeah.
You would? You do literally the same?
I reckon pretty close to the same as I did, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd
Would you have any interest in even being like, you know, around every other garage so that, you know, if someone's looking at cars, you're at least there?
No, that's people. The way people shop for cars is different than they used to before. When I started in H&H years ago, it was less internet based and more. We'll go out today and look at 7 or 8 different garages and see what they have in stock. People don't do that anymore. People check online and they go in and say, I see you have they might have probably rang first, but they say, I seen online or I seen on Instagram you have this car in stock. Some people still do, but people don't generally do the rounds as much as they used to. When people were buying cars and doing the rounds of all the garages, having a garage, for example, in the Motor Mile in Waterford was essential, because they would have just done all the garages in the one go, and you had to be in there to be part of the mix. They'd have forgotten about you if you were 10 minutes drive away.
Yeah.
They would have. People don't do that anymore. I even knew before, the tide was after turning to go more online before I started my business. When I was in Hertz in Cork, we used to get, honestly, a fair whack of our business through sponsored Facebook ads. We were one of the first garages. I said we were on the first. I said this a couple of times. I actually think we were at the time. Now, don't get wrong, it wasn't me. It was the Dublin garage that started it first. It wasn't me but we realised, and this was early, say 2016, 17, was early Facebook ads kind of side of things. And I realised then, it's like, okay, we're sponsoring Facebook posts with a link to apply for finance, right?
Yeah.
And we were just getting so many of our leads through that. That doesn't work as well anymore. But I knew then, it's like, okay, where I was in Cork was it was in the Lower Glanmire Road. But it was nowhere near any of the other Keary's garages. It was just a little kind of unit near the train station. And we're doing good numbers out of there. And we didn't have that many cars in stock. We only had about 35, 40 cars in stock, but we're getting replenished the whole time from Waterford. And we're doing 40, 45 a month, like, do you know what I mean? At the time, sometimes a bit more. And all that was done through online. And all that was done through social media. And that was early social media days. So when I started here, I knew, right, okay, I want a unit. This is a kind of similar enough unit that we had in Cork. I was like, this works well. And we were stuck in Cork because we had to sell just the ex-rental, ex-fleet cars. Yeah. So we're kind of stuck with what you stocked just due to what was on the fleet. So I was like, right, if I do what I'm doing here, but if I do it with
choice and what you're stocking.
That sounds good. And I knew I didn't have to be on the road frontage, and I didn't actually want to be, in there, because you just get a load of walk-ins all day, and now lads just
time wasters
and everything like that. So I was like, right, do social media well, spend a bit of money on it, and people will come to you. And I knew I had proof of that concept from my time work for Boland's, and when I did it out here, lo and behold, the concept was correct, and it did work. So if I was selling anyone starting a garage, you don't need it. No, if you have an option between, if there's 2 units, one is on the main road and one is not on the main road, and they're the same money and same size, sure, why not go on the main road? Yeah, people will see you more, not to be all and end all.
If someone is starting a garage in the morning, and they're kind of thinking, right, there's a heap of different social medias. Yeah. Is there ones that I definitely should be doing? Like, there's LinkedIn, there's TikTok, there's everything else. Like, is there any that you'd be like, definitely make a TikTok account, or definitely don't make a TikTok account? Do
you know what?
Or just do all of them?
I don't think do all of them. It's somebody that, if you're just yourself, you can say what you want. You don't have time to post on 6 different things the whole time. If you're just by yourself, the honest answer is, like, TikTok is pretty up and coming, right? We know that, right? That's a good one. But like, some people they're not built for TikTok. They're not charismatic enough. They're not. Yeah. Their content is shit. Like, do you know what I mean? If you feel better just posting your cars on Instagram, cool, do that. Yeah. Like, if you're selling, like, say for example, Facebook, we don't use it much, right? Well, you're obviously a lot younger than me, like, but even I'm mid-30s, let's say, and people my age don't really use it, but people in their 50s and 60s do still use it. A lot of them do, like, so depends what you're trying to sell to. Facebook can work great for some things. We don't get much business out of it, and that's fine. LinkedIn would work well if you're obviously doing more B2B or kind of corporate kind of stuff, or if you're selling higher end cars, I would go heavy on LinkedIn, like, for example, because I think you'll get a lot of
You've been getting quite a lot of good
leads. Yeah, I got a bit
off
now off LinkedIn, like, yeah. So it depends what you're trying to sell. Like, if you're selling first-time driver cars, for example, or if you're selling like 2015 Audi A4s, for example, S-Lines, not I'll throw up a TikTok because you'll have all that age group people looking at it and all that.
Yeah.
Or if you're funny, or if you've got a few things to say, like try TikTok again, like, but just do what you're most comfortable with, and whatever you do, if you're doing social media stuff, don't try to be anyone else. People, it just people can sense it, they can sniff it out. It's like you're just trying to copy such a place, or you're just trying to copy this garage. Some people are great storytellers. Some people are good at presenting. Like, I'm not good at presenting like a spec on or facts on cars. I find it boring, and there's lads way more knowledgeable than me on spec on cars, so I don't really do it too much. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's for someone to walk around videos I do, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know, I think it's M's for. No,
but it works for you.
Works for me. But that's who I am. Like, to be honest, like, be on about like, I don't know, radar adjusted headlights. Not I don't even know how they work. Like, why would I go waffling on about it or pretending I don't? Like, I'm good at being me and put my own style of humour on it, but that might not work for other people. Yeah. So it depends what you're good at, I guess.
You're on your 6th year in business.
Yeah.
What was your favourite, like, what was your best year? Numbers wise, and then what was the time that you were like, that was like, this is what I'm aiming for?
I think we even mentioned that last year was really good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very good.
The last month now.
I think we can do it again.
It's starting to get horny again now. Sorry, no. We had a very, very tasty month last month. It was super, super, super good.
Was it the best month?
It was the best month we had, ever. In terms of, to be honest with you, just in terms of the money we made. Just we'd run a look. We'd no stinkers of cars we needed to blow out. Now these will all come down the line. Like, the cars we sold happened to be really profitable ones, which was great. There's a few things that worked in our favour. A lot of the good deals that we had, or good cars we bought, a lot of them sold last month. And we sold 60 cars, retail cars last month. We got 50 of them delivered, and 50 good deals as well. So, and the workshop, I have to give credit to the workshop. The workshop is getting busier and busier. Richard and the lads below there, like you said, the amount of retail business we're getting so many phone calls. So last month was as close to a perfect month as I've had now in a long time. The 4 months previous to that, was it 4 months? Yeah, fine. Yeah, it was okay. I wasn't blown away by it, but we did fine. Last year in general, especially probably after April or May onwards, especially August, September onwards, September, October, November.
It didn't stop.
From memory, it was just like a steam train. Like, it was just so good. Like, in October was the busiest month in terms of numbers of units we sold for certain. But it was just relentlessly busy. So last year was really good. This year, if you asked me 2 months ago, I would have said, yeah, no, last year was better, but I don't know. And we're busy now even this week, aren't we? Like, it's a bit happening, like, you know what I mean?
There is.
So
I see it's similar again to last year.
Yeah.
It was a slow start last year as well.
It was. Yeah. So, but I was really happy with last year. And I'm very open with G, and I've said it on this podcast before, like the money I was making this year was comparable to last year, but my overheads went up.
Yeah.
So last year I was like, okay, my overheads were lower than they were this year, and the money I was making was good. And the money I was making was actually a good jump up on the year previous with similar overheads. Usually by the time when you start making more money, then something has to give, and things start creeping up. And because I'm so open with G on how well we're doing, or even in the workshop, we know how much retail money we made in the week and everything. I'm open with everyone, and then it gets to a point that either I feel that I have to give people more money, or they might ask me. I'm sound. I am. I fucking am sound. I know I'm great. But that's just the way it is. Yeah. But eventually things start happening, and then in order to go up to the next level of business, you'll have to spend a bit of money. Like, we spent a bit at the start of this year doing up these offices, which were obviously were great. We redid the photo area, so you kind of add expenses on when you're trying to go up to the next level. But yeah, no, I think this year could be good too. I hope it'll be good. If it was similar enough to last year, I'd be delighted.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm confident enough.
I hope so. I hope so.
And I hope it happens.
How important is it? Again, you're good at keeping staff. Like, is money everything?
No, it's money. No, money's not everything. I think. Again, I
more so a question for anyone that is, thinking of starting. And
then money. First of all, money is only possible even when you're given to staff and all that if the business itself is making money. I mean, if someone is asking you more money and you're like, I don't have the money for it. Thankfully, if someone asks me for more money, or if we're doing well, I do have the money to look after people. So you have to number one, you have to focus on your business making money, and that's a selfish kind of act to start with.
Yeah.
You can't help anyone else. You can't sponsor your local sports teams, which I do a bit as well. You can't give to charity. You can't pay staff. You can't upgrade your offices. You can't do that unless the business is making money.
Yeah,
So it has to be the lifeblood of business. Other than that, you have to, yes, look after your staff money wise, but like, just be easy. I don't think anyone dreads coming into work here any day. It's pretty chill. Like, you know what I mean? I know the workshop can be hectic at times. Lads in the workshop might say otherwise, but like, I'm not down there fucking neck the whole time.
No.
I let them be. I think one of my strengths is realizing as well what my strengths aren't, if that makes sense.
You're quite good at taking a step back. And
where there's no, again, for certain things, like I don't micromanage things that I can see other people doing easily as good as I could do it, if not better. So why would I interfere in it then? Like, do you know what I mean? I interfere in things where I know I can make it better. Do you know, for example, but if, and I go use my hands off approach, like sometimes like I just I leave Andrea do her own fucking thing, because she's going to be better at any office work or any chasing NCTs or any organizational things. She'd be way better than that to me. You know, Richard and John and Tom, all the lads below in the workshop, they'll do workshop stuff better than me. And I don't interfere too much, go down once a week for a meeting. So I think one of my strengths is, and that's what helps keep staff as well, is giving people a bit of autonomy, not being micromanaged, and allowing people to make their own decisions on things. Like, and I think that's it. And you have to, if you're looking for people to manage different areas of your business for you as well, you can't have it all your way. It's give and take. And a part of the deal in that, and a part of what makes people feel like that they do have a say, is allowing them to make decisions. Even some of them that I'd be like, don't know, I mightn't have made that decision myself. But it's like, well, that comes with the deal now. They're looking after a lot of responsibility and decision making when it suits you. So in order to be fair to them back, let them do their own thing. Because there's nothing worse than being in a business and you can't make any decisions and you're being micromanaged within an inch of your life. And I think that causes that, and a toxic boss or toxic work environment. Those two things, where you feel like you don't have autonomy or if you have a toxic environment, those are two things that'll make people want to leave, more so than money. When it comes to money, like with taxes and all that, like, you know, it doesn't matter if you're getting another $5,000 a year somewhere else. Like, if we after tax and all that, it's going to make like, as long as you have enough money to shelter and food or whatever, like another $5,000 a year somewhere else is going to make shit all of a difference to you. You'd want to be getting double the money somewhere else if the place with more money was toxic.
Was
you know what I mean?
Shithole.
Like, you know what I mean? And people, I think after COVID as well, especially, people realised there was a complete culture shift to working after COVID. And people then they realised, you know, maybe there was more to life than working. And because there's so many jobs after COVID as well, like, people have choices and they can go other places and all that. And it's not all about money, and people realise there's more to life than money. And, you know, a balanced working schedule in a way, and being a bit flexible. And I do think I'm flexible. I'm flexible with time off for people. I'm flexible with if you want to come in late, or flexible with if you wanted a nice car for the weekend. I'll do all those things, like as long as it's and I think when I show respect to people, which I do show respect to everyone and all staff, I get respect back 99% of the time without having to interfere and micromanage. And I think that's important. A lot of lads don't do that. Like, they can't do that.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, that'd be my take on it.
What are your plans for the next 6?
Oh my god.
What are your goals? Is there any goals? Are you just kind of taking it as goals, or?
Yeah. My plans for the next 6 years are, I do probably want to have my own like garage here. Like, I'm renting here at the moment. It's all well and good, like, and it's great. But I'm just running out of room here. I'd like to have. I'll build my own place. Nothing too. And it's not going to be this year or next year. Like, but it'll
be in the next 6 years.
Yeah, it will definitely in the next 6 anyway. And I would like to just have my own place, my own nice little clean setup, a nice little unit and everything like that. I will open another garage, I think. I just think I've just got too much more. I've just got too much momentum going at the moment. To just stop here. It just be I would be terrified of not realizing the potential. Like, do you know what I mean? Or even if it doesn't make any financial sense, or not in financial sense, but it doesn't make sense from a life's point of view. It's just I would love to capitalize on the momentum I've already built. And if that means expanding and open other places, I think I'll just have to, like, I just can't help myself. Like, do you know what I mean? I have to do something new every year to keep me interested. Like, I started doing the Jap imports last year. I started the podcast this year, and last year I started buying a bit of property as well. And
Just always changing it up.
just changing it up a bit, keep it interesting. Like, because like,
Do you get bored, or is it just you want something new?
no, it's not so much I get bored. I just feel I have to be doing something, or else I feel guilty that I'm not doing enough. Like,
I get you.
especially as I got more staff, and you know, for example, right, like if I have to be doing something, like I have to be kept myself busy. Like, so if, say for example, when the workshop takes care of itself most of the time, for when the Philly and Marty and yourself, sometimes you deal with a lot of sales inquiries, obviously mainly Philly and Marty. You're helping out with the buying and everything like that. Like, I don't want to take any days off, really. You know what I mean? I don't want to be any less busy. It's like, oh, what will I do then?
You're just filling the time.
Kind of like, but that opens up my time to do different things, or do things with expansion, or do things that'll go down different avenues and all that. Like, so, and it's a game. I like my main hobby in life is business. Like, you know, I like doing other things, but I love fucking growing a business. Like,
Yeah.
it's a good.
You
buzz,
play it like a game.
Yeah, completely. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like it doesn't make. I'd make a fucking grand living just tipping away, not even expanding much from what I was doing 4 or 5 years ago. You can make a fucking living. Most people will be delighted with, like, but I want the challenge. Like, I want to play the game. Like, business is a game. Once you get past a point where your basic needs are met, then it's kind of like, Jesus, where could I send this now? Where could this go?
Yeah.
And I always set myself these aspirational targets. Like, I would love Croatia. I'd like a house and a yacht there. Will I ever get to that point? I don't know. But you know what? It's a nice thought.
It's nice to have it.
It's a nice thought in the back of my head. It's like, and I'd be looking up yachts for sale in Croatia. For something, it's like, 300 grand. It's like, let me see there now, right? How much? Yeah, okay. And I'm doing all the maths. It's like, and that's a buzz, that the fact that would be possible if I get the rub of the green, and if things keep going well. It's like, wow, that could be possible in years to come. Cool. I would have never thought that years ago. Like, do you know what I mean? Super. Will I get there? Who knows? Will I want it? I don't know. We'll keep playing the game and we'll see what comes out of it. Like,
just out of curiosity, do you like write down your goals?
Yeah, I haven't really done it much now in the last couple of months, but I did it all last year.
Yeah.
And I wrote them down. And I used to write them out again every morning. I used to write out my goals every morning.
Every morning.
Yeah.
Hit all of them?
Most of them? No, I one of them was complete a marathon, and I got heat stroke and collapsed after 35 kilometers. So I didn't hit that one. I hit my financial goal I set myself. There was a few other ones, like I wanted to do up the back garden of my house. That was a good goal I had. I did that. Like,
that's a cool back garden.
Yeah, it's a cool back garden. Yeah, I wanted to do it up pergola and barbecue and all that kind of thing. So I did that, and I had a few other ones as well. And
you could probably do the marathon now.
Like, there was a few personal ones. It wasn't all just money and business. Like, there was like I wanted a family holiday with everyone, bring my parents off as well. So I paid for like flights, accommodation, and a lovely villa over in Portugal with my family there back in September with Sophia and Laura and everything like that. And that was a goal I had. I was like, I'll do that.
Yeah.
So I didn't want it to be all. So I'm delighted with that, and I'll keep doing that, because you can't get those memories back. They're more important than like hitting this fucking buying a silly car for yourself, right? And that's what you'll always look back on. But I haven't really been writing much goals down this year. I might get into the habit of it again, but they do work. Yeah, I'm big into that kind of thing. Like,
never really done it. I often hear people do.
It's more of like obviously there's visualization and there's all that kind of thing as well. It's more of it just, if you're writing them down the whole time, they're in the back of your head, and subconsciously you're kind of thinking, right, what am I doing today to hit that goal? It's like, right, I want to buy a red Ferrari, right? Okay, you're going to need money for that. What are you doing to make money to buy the red Ferrari? And it's good to have a little goal for yourself, like, as long as it's like, and it's okay if you don't hit it. But sometimes, like, some people, lads would say, like, if you have a 10-year goal, right, just like, Grant, what's your 10-year goal? Right, try and hit it in a year. I was like, okay, right. Well, if you just try and hit your 10-year goal within 1 year and give it your best shot, you will have definitely been further along after a year towards that goal than you would have been if you set it for 10 years away.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
Because it's like, I think it's Parkinson's law or something like that. Like, time fills the space that you allocate for it. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like when you're studying for exam, and if the exam was 3 weeks away,
it's the long finger.
You'll be 3 weeks doing, or you'll be fanny acting around to the last couple of days. Whereas if the exam was 2 days time, you'd be fucking in the zone. Yeah, you would do the work. Like, so sometimes if you kind of condense down your timelines, which is under pressure, it kind of works. I'd
say we're probably
answered a lot of the questions. How many?
How many?
No, how many? I think we're about 50 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, sounds about right.
But that's been my general take on it, and that's my experience in business so far, and my plans for the future. I think we covered a good few different topics.
We covered, yeah, we kind of went roundabouts and circles, but covered a lot.
We covered a bit of it anyway. So yeah, I hope people got a bit of value from it. Maybe found it interesting. If you would like me to answer any more topics or go into in any more detail, I love talking. I love getting attention. I know, but I buzz off people that say they enjoyed the episode or they enjoyed the podcast.
A lot of people are enjoying.
They are, and I'm blown away by it, and I'm amazed, and I genuinely mean that. Like I can't believe people listen to what I have to say in the way that they do. So it's great. If there's any topics anyone wants me to cover in any more detail, I'm happy to do so. Leave a comment under this one, drop me a message, and yeah, we'll have plenty more episodes coming up in the next couple of weeks. Thanks.
Thank you.
Lovely.